Parshat Shemini. This insight we're sharing here is called Kosher Animals and Kosher Manifesting. And we're sharing this from Rabbi Mordechai Yosef of Ishbitze in his Sefer Mei HaShilo'ach. And so the Rebbe of Ishbitze explains to us here, what can we learn from the Torah's signs for kosher animals, which is one of the main topics in this week's Parsha, that this is a huge lesson about manifesting the reality we choose according to the Torah. So that's one of the things that we're going to come to understand through this insight. Secondly, what is the spirit behind proper Bitachon in Hashem? What is the attitude, the spirit, the energy behind it? And understanding what the spirit behind proper Bitachon in Hashem is will allow us, this is actually the key to manifesting success in our lives. Thirdly, another point that we will come to understand through this is, why do so many people struggle with their manifestations and yet they're not successful? They do the affirmations, they do the visualizations, they pray, they daven, whatever it is that they're doing it for years and years and years, and still they're struggling and still nothing is changing. Why is that, and what can we do about that? How can we change that? How can we make sure that we have a different experience? So we need to understand that so many people are trying to create a different life for themselves. And they pray, and they try to have Emunah, and they try to have Bitachon, and yet a lot of people don't see anything in return for all of their struggling, except for more struggling. That's all they see. They struggle, and they just get more struggling. But it doesn't have to be that way, right? In my experience, we can learn to have real Bitachon effortlessly. It doesn't need to be a struggle. And we can see our desires manifest pleasantly and easily. Now, it all comes down to the spirit and the approach which we take to the manifesting, the attitude behind our prayers. And it has also a lot to do with our inner state of being and feeling about all the blessings that we already have in our life. That's one of the key points here. So in order to understand this, we need to understand the main difference, the important distinction between a scarcity mentality and an abundance mentality. Scarcity mindset and an abundance mindset. Okay, these are one of the major paradigm shifts that would serve us as we become more open to it now. It's the shift from a scarcity mindset to one of abundance. So what is the mindset and state of mind at the core of how someone who has Bitachon in Hashem sees and perceives the world? Someone like this who believes in Hashem knows that there is an infinite abundance available to them. There is all perfection available to them. There is no lack. And therefore, they act as if there never is any lack. And whatever they need, they have whenever they want it, whenever they need it. Now, one of the important characteristics, one of the important differences in the behavior of someone living from an abundance mindset, someone who has Bitachon in Hashem, is what the Ishbitze Rebbe is going to point out for us now. And that is that they don't resist the unpleasant, and they don't grab onto the pleasant. So it's really two things here. They don't resist the unpleasant, and they don't grab onto the pleasant. Someone who has Bitachon in Hashem does not resist the unpleasant, and they don't grab onto what is pleasant and what is desired to them. So how is that connected to an abundance mentality? So in truth, if there's nothing but perfection and an infinite abundance of it, of perfection, there's always good presently here. And when something desirable is presented to me, I'm not so overexcited about it that I grab onto it as if I'm afraid I might lose it, or I might miss the opportunity or lose what I already have, because I know that there is so much of it available to me. There's a tremendous abundance of it available to me. And so this is coming to explain to us now what is the secret of open-handed acceptance. Open-handed acceptance is one of the terms, one of the concepts we will see in this insight from the Rebbe of Ishbitze. Open-handed acceptance, what does that mean? It means that I accept Hashem's blessings with open hands instead of grabbing it and holding it close to me as if I were afraid it might fall away. Okay? If there's scarcity and there's not so many blessings in my life, and blessings are very scarce and very rare, then as soon as Hashem presents me with some sort of blessing, I might grab onto it because I'm afraid, oh my gosh, I might lose it. And it's been so long since I had something good come along in my life. I better grab onto it. And what that does is it just enforces the mindset that there's a scarcity and just creates more and more scarcity. And then yet it'll take another who knows how many years until something good comes along in someone's life. But if I have open-handed acceptance, I'm not grabbing onto it because I know that there's so much of it. There's so much of it. I'm just swimming in abundance. All I need to do is just go like this, and I have it all. It just fills my hands. And if this falls out of my hands, then I just go like this, and I have it in my hands, and I don't have to do anything. It's just here all the time. So that's open-handed acceptance. Now, what happens if I hold on to it as if it were to fall away? Right? A fear that it might fall away, that I might lose out, that I might not get enough of it. Then it falls away. And this is the same as when we resist the things that we don't like in our life, the things that we don't like persist. So it's basically the other side of the same coin. When we resist the things that we don't like, the things that we don't like persists. And when we grab onto the things that we do like, then the things that we do like, it just evade us, it just falls away. And it just gets more and more scarce because as you're enforcing that mentality. Now, how is this lesson alluded to and represented in the words of the Torah in this week's Parsha, which describe the signs of kosher animals? How is this represented and alluded to in these words according to the Ishbitzer Rebbe? So the words that he points out here, as we know, the two main signs of a kosher animal, as the Torah describes it, is ma'alat gera and mafris parsa. So let's look at the first one, ma'alat gera. Ma'alat gera, well, it's referring to the process of a kosher animal to chew its cud. That means that the animal bites into the food, it swallows the food, it goes down, and then it regurgitates it, comes back up, it returns it, it brings it back up to its mouth, and it chews that food, and then it brings it back down and continues the process of digesting the food. So this is called chewing its cud, and this is called ma'alat gera. Now, more literally, ma'alat gera means not to chew the cud, but more literally, it means to bring the cud back up, to regurgitate it. Ma'alat gera, to bring it up, to return it. Okay? And so what does this allude to according to the Ishbitzer? He says that this represents the person who lives with Bitachon and Emunah. This is a person who is never holding on to the presence Hashem gives as if that present is scarce, as if it's rare. This person is open to the possibility of returning it to Hashem. Okay? For them, their energy, their attitude, the way that they feel on the inside is that they're basically in a state of equanimity. Doesn't matter to me whether I have this right now or I don't. I can easily return this to Hashem. And because they can easily return it to Hashem, therefore they're blessed with more and more of it. They're not grabbing onto it. They're living in a state of Emunah, so they're living in a place of abundance, and so they have more and more abundance. They are affirming that reality of abundance by that open-handed acceptance. And so they get more and more of that abundance. The second sign here for a kosher animal, also teaching us more about this open and relaxed, this relaxed open state, is mafris parsa. Mafris parsa literally is speaking about how the hooves are truly split, meaning they're split all the way from the top. They're split from the top all the way down to the bottom. Now this represents that we are constantly open to Hashem's blessings and we do not close our hands in fear of losing that blessing. Mafris parsa has a connotation of receiving with hands which are spread open. Mafris, ufros alenu, spread upon us, sukat shilomecha, your sukkah of peace, right? Ufros, mafris means to spread. Mafris parsa means that the person's hands are spread open. And he says that this represents how we are constantly open to Hashem's blessings. Now, what are 3 ways of practically applying this powerful insight? One way is to be a giver, to be a generous giver who gives a lot of charity, who gives a lot of tzedakah. Keep your hands stretched out, mafris parsa, stretched out and spread open in a state of giving rather than taking. Rather than this, do this. Be in this state of giving, of open hands, with no fear of losing out or missing out, no fear of maybe not getting enough or not having enough. The Torah literally, when it's referring to tzedakah, the Torah tells us, do not close your hands. Instead, patuach tiftach, you shall surely open up your hands and give generously. And so this is actually Rabbi Nachman speaks about this, the tremendous power of tzedakah. He points to what the Gemara tells us, that the aser bishvil shetit asher, that when you give the tenth of the money that you make to tzedakah, you will become very wealthy, says the Midrash, says the Gemara. But Rabbi Nachman says that the more that you give, the more that you will have of whatever it is that you need. Not only money, but also in relationships. He says you will be blessed in your relationship as well, in your marriage. He says in any blessing that you need, you will get more and more of that abundance, because as you give more tzedakah by opening up your heart and your hands, you open up the gates of Hashem's blessings and the abilities and the powers of even greater spiritual achievements. Okay, so as you open up, as you get into that state of being open, opening up your heart, opening up your hands, you are causing the gates of heaven to open up, the gates of blessing to open up for you. And if it was maybe a little bit tight and it was a little bit hard to enter those gates of heaven, to enter those gates of spiritual achievement, now they have widened up. Now they have expanded, and now it's easy to achieve whatever it is that you want to achieve, to get whatever it is that you want to get, not only spiritual blessings, but also material blessings in the physical world as well. So this is one way of applying that, one way of being more open, living in an abundant mentality, because if a person is living in an abundant mentality, they're not afraid of not having enough money. They're not afraid of losing money. They're not afraid of giving away money. What if I don't have enough? What if I lose? What if I don't get it back? Who knows, right? They're not afraid of that. That is a place of bitachon. Now, another practical application of this powerful insight is gratitude for what we already have. If I'm tremendously grateful for what I already have, not just because some rabbi said that I should, and it's a segula and it's good advice, but I'm actually happy with what I have right here and right now. I'm completely satisfied in this moment. I'm completely at peace with what is. Genuinely content with what is. I can get myself to a state of genuine satisfaction, peace, and contentment with what is right here in my life, in every aspect of my life, noticing all the needs of mine that are fulfilled in my life and how they're fulfilled, and savoring that gratitude. That gets me in a state of abundance mentality, of recognizing the abundance that I'm in. Instead of fear, I'm more in a state of love, and therefore I create more and more abundance in my life. I have opened up the channels of Hashem's blessings to allow the flow of more and more abundance to come showing up in my life. Now, the third application here is that, and this is important, this is something that a lot of us are not aware of, but there's a Torah in Rabbi Nachman in the Kutei Moran where he speaks about this, and he says that at the end of our prayers, right, so you pray and you want something, and you feel like you're lacking something. If you're wanting it and you're praying for it, usually people get to a place of feeling that they're lacking it. Rabbi Nachman says that you want to let go of wanting or hoping for that prayer to be fulfilled. And instead, we open up to Hashem's complete perfection, which is always present. Okay, so at the end of the prayer, you say, not in a way of self-sacrifice or in a sadistic way or anything like that, but to recognize that really the most powerful element of any prayer that what may cause it to manifest, it's the sense at the end of the prayer that it is done, that it is fulfilled. It's the sense of ease, the sense of peace, the sense of relief or release that happens when you truly pray and you truly connect and you feel that Hashem is always here, always present, always listening to you, and Hashem is always able to give you everything that you want, and He wants to give you everything that you want, and He is giving you everything that you want, and you don't really need anything, you don't really want anything, because everything, all perfection is already here, because the presence of Hashem is already here. So when you get really, really profoundly experiencing this state now of that perfection that already is, you can let go of wanting, right? Imagine a child is grabbing onto a little a candy, and then you show them a huge bag of candies and chocolate bars or mishloach manot on Purim. They're just going to drop whatever candy they have in their hand because there's something much greater, much bigger. So we have to recognize that the perfection that is always present is infinitely, and I don't say that as an exaggeration, it's infinitely greater, infinitely, literally, infinitely greater than anything that we could ever want. And the more that we can get ourselves into that experience, now we will have all those things as well. They will come naturally, they will come easily, they will come effortlessly and pleasantly. And so this is really an important concept, an important idea, an important lesson about kosher manifesting according to the Torah, and we learn it from the signs of the kosher animals.